Alrighty, let's write some code. I'm going to jump into Google Colab. And by the way, we've mentioned a whole bunch of stuff already. So if you want the resources for any of the links that we've searched or mentioned or things that we've talked about, such as paper replicating, what is a machine learning research paper? Why replicate it? Where can you find examples? What we're going to cover? Terminology, etc., etc. And now we're up to getting set up for code. You can, of course, go to Section 8 PyTorch paper replicating to find all the links you need. And then, of course, some extra curriculum if you want to dive in further for anything. But let's jump back up the top. We have to get set up. What we want to do is import some PyTorch modules. Now, as of July 2022, Torch Vision version 0.13 should be on Google Colab. So we're going to be using Torch Vision 0.13 plus, but let's stop talking about it. Let's just get involved at colab.research.google.com. I'm going to start a new notebook. Make sure I'm a little bit zoomed in here for the video. Beautiful. So let's title this 08 PyTorch paper replicating video. And now, of course, this will eventually live in the video notebooks folder, and the ground truth notebook is here. I've just appended the video tag so that you know that this is the notebook that we're working on through the videos. So let's go here. I'm going to call this 08 PyTorch paper replicating. Replicating, if I could spell, that'd be amazing. And so let's write down here, the goal of machine learning research paper replicating is turn a ML research paper into usable code. And as I've said a few times now, rather than just talk about replicating machine learning research papers in general, we're actually going to do one so that you can see what it's like to replicate a machine learning research paper from scratch with PyTorch. So in this notebook, we're going to be replicating the vision transformer, so VIT architecture / paper with PyTorch. Woohoo! And if you just search for vision transformer paper, you should be able to find it. If not, here's the actual title. All the links are in the resources, by the way, in PyTorch paper replicating. So if you see me jumping around a lot, just know that there's a ground truth for the resources. So I'm going to link to the abstract. So you'll notice an archive abstract link has ABS. If you link to the PDF, you can do that, except some browsers take quite a while to load the PDF. So mine's probably got this cache, so it loaded pretty fast. But what you'll notice over time is if you open up a new PDF, it can take a while if you're trying to read it on a new device. So it's often best practice to link the abstract instead of the PDF. And I'm just going to go here, abstract. And then we go, see, ground truth notebook here. And this is where all our materials are. So our first step in here is to get set up. So let's create a title, get set up. Now we've done these steps a fair few times, but what we want to do is let's import code we've previously written plus required libraries. So most of the code that we created for this notebook in terms of the stuff that we want to use behind the scenes, we created in PyTorch going modular. So if we go to GitHub and we go to going modular and then going modular, we want to import all of these scripts here, such as datasetup.py. This is going to help us create our data loaders. We've gone over this in previous videos, so we're not going to spend too much there. So what we essentially want to do is clone this GitHub repo and import all the code into our Colab notebook. That way we're not rewriting all of the same code that we've written before. So I'm just going to clean up some tabs here, and we can get the code that we need by going to section 0, getting set up. I'm going to copy this. All this block of code does is make sure we import Torch for PyTorch and Torch Vision, and make sure we have the right versions. Now, if your Google Colab instance doesn't have the right versions, it's going to download them. So just beware, you may have to restart your runtime once you install them. But before we do that, I'm actually going to set up a GPU save. So all I did there was runtime, change runtime type GPU. So let's run this. I believe as of July, current date, it is Friday, 29th of July, 2022. Oh, and this is giving away my location. Thank you for that. Well, I live in Brighton, which is a little suburb in Brisbane. It's a lovely place. So let's get set up. Torch version 1.2, and we have Torch Vision version 0.13. Wonderful. So these are the minimum versions we're going to need for this section. If you don't have these as a minimum version, you might have to install them you can go to pytorch.org. You can install them somehow. But if you're using Google Colab, you should be right. So get started. Yeah, you can install through there. And yeah, 0.13. They should be the defaults on Colab. If you have later versions of those, they should still work with the code we're going to run. If they don't, let me know. So we've done the imports of Torch and Torch Vision. Now we need to import a couple of things, such as the helperfunctions.py file, which is here. That could really go in here, going modular. We could put all of the functions in utils. That might be a little extension you might want to try. So we'll go back here. Helper functions just has a bunch of different things, such as walking through a directory, plot decision boundary. We've seen all these functions before. There's nothing new in here that we haven't coded during the course. It's just a way to store them all so we don't have to rewrite them. So let's go back. Helperfunctions.py, we want to import that. We want to import download data and plot loss curves, and we created them in previous sections. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. And we're going to make sure we have all the imports. We're going to install Torch Info, which doesn't actually come with Google Colab, but we've seen what it does. One of my favorite Python packages for getting a model summary. So let's go here and we go run. Couldn't find Torch Info, installing it. I'll just let this run for a few seconds. Beautiful, there we go. So now with all this magic code here, we have our going modular, and there's data setup.py, engine.py, model builder.py, etc., etc. We're really only going to focus on using data setup and engine.py, or maybe utils later on, and then we've got helperfunctions.py. So we've got access to all of that, and finally we're going to set up device agnostic code. So I'm just going to get out of this little window here, and let's go device equals CUDA if torch.CUDA is available, else CPU. And we'll check the device. Beautiful, CUDA. So let's, in the next video, get some data. You might want to jump ahead and try it out yourself. There's the code there, that's a spoiler, but give that a shot, and I'll see you in the next video.